Good morning, this is Judy. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, or welcome to it. If you're new here, please subscribe, and if you're liking my videos, please make sure you hit that thumbs up. It really helps the channel. But today I'm going to be demonstrating how I refill my tri-blend markers. These are the tri-blend Spectrum Noir markers. This is the brush tip, and these are the regular nibs. They're really economical markers. You get 3 colors in one for maybe $6 or $7 depending on where you buy it. So it's like $2 per color. Very inexpensive. They're a great alcohol marker. One complaint I've heard a lot of people say is that they're not refillable, so they have to get new markers. But really, how bad is that when, you know, they're so inexpensive? However, because I am a close to my heart consultant maker and I do classes, I go through these a lot. And two things: if I couldn't refill them, it would be very expensive. The other thing is the nibs sometimes will get squished by participants in my classes. So I have to have a way to keep these usable. Now, if the nibs go bad, I haven't been able to find a way to change the nibs. So then the marker is going to be tossed. But they're really durable. As you can see, they're a bullet tip. They are very firm. But if you press really hard, then the fine point is squished. So, you know, it is what it is. At that point, then the marker will be replaced. But if it's not, I need to be able to refill them. So I did some research on what to do and came up with my own solution. So what I get is a very sharp pair of scissors, and these are from Close to My Heart, and they are extremely sharp. So I could easily cut myself on these, so they have to be done with a lot of care. I've been doing it for quite a while, and I try to refill all my markers the beginning of the year, which is today. Happy New Year, if you're watching it today anyway. So I go through and pull out all my reinkers, and I've been collecting them as I go because the reinkers are just as expensive as markers. But I can refill my marker like 10 to 20 times out of one refill bottle. So, you know, that's quite the cost savings for me, and it makes it worth it for me to do this. So some of these markers have been refilled before, so they're quite easy to get uncapped, if you will. The first time it is a little more difficult, and I have to really use some force. But what I do is I open my scissors and I kind of shimmy it in the little part here where the cap goes on. So the cap is on like this. This part underneath here, there is a felt piece that you need to put the re-inker in. So I leave the cap on, so if it goes flying, it doesn't hit something and get ink all over. But you're going to just wiggle it in there until it opens up a little bit. And as you can see from the marker, that's the way it is supposed to be, capped and sealed to keep the marker from drying out. So I'm going to just wiggle this in, and I kind of push it so that it opens, okay? And there's the part that you drop your re-inker into. Okay, so I have two. One is my own personal use, and one is for classes. So I'm going to uncap both ends, and I'm going to do, oh, that's the wrong end. This is the dark. You can see the different color. So I'm going to set that aside so I don't refill it accidentally with the wrong one. All right, so as you can see, it's just starting to come apart there. So get the blade right in that little crevice there and push very carefully until you feel it give. Okay, now this is IB1, and I know that these are on the barrel IB1. Okay, so you're gonna uncap this, and sometimes the refill bottles will come with a cap on it and then a separate little eyedropper. These are not really good. A lot of mine don't suck up the ink anymore, so I've had to throw them away. So I think if I keep them washed, I kept them in little plastic bags, and I didn't clean them, maybe the alcohol ate the rubber, I'm not sure. But if you can get the ones with the attached eyedropper, it's much better. So, and you're just going to drop it, and you can see the ink absorb in there. You don't want to get it too full. If you do, it's not a big deal, but why waste your ink? And this ink is good for alcohol ink applications as well. So it's, you know, multi-use what you get in here. So you can see it's starting to not absorb as fast, so I know that's getting full. So these weren't real dry. So then you're just going to slide it back in and line up the ridges and press it back together. Now, when you take the cap off, sometimes it will come off with it. You just have to put it back on. That's one of the cons of doing this, is it will loosen up the seal on these. But until it comes to the point where I have to get rid of it, I'll deal with that, because refilling them is so much more economical for me. So in this, you will see I have a cheat sheet here of my refills. Now, this probably wasn't the best one, because this is for the brush extended collection, which is this series of markers, and not all the colors come in this, so I had to add the other re-inkers that I need for the regular markers. But I do go through on scrap paper and test the markers. And sometimes if you get a lot of ink in it, you can just set it on your paper and let it absorb out, and it will take that excess ink out of there. You can also use a paper towel to wipe off the nib if you have any leakage that came out. Okay, so I'm going to look for new nibs for some of these, but this one looks pretty good. And I'll test both of them. I don't have the refill there for that color yet. So I'll seal it back up, and then I'll test this one and see how much wider this line is. So this nib is a little bit more used. It's not fine, that is. And this one's really fine because it's used even less. And it has a big dot like that. When I put it down, usually it's because the nib is a little more squished. So this is the one that is for classes. That's how I tell. So I hope that helps you if you want to look into refilling your markers. Sometimes just getting the lightest color is good for a lot of people, because that's the one I use to blend everything. I'll do it light, medium, dark, and then I'll go back over with the light. And I know some people will color the dark, medium, and then the light, because they're trying to save the ink that they use so their marker doesn't go dry. Well, this prevents that. And as you can see, I've got some ink on my hand from doing these. But so I will leave a link to where I get my refills. It's called Carpe Diem business, and they are really, really good. A lot of the colors have been out of stock, but I noticed that a lot of them are back in now. So if that helps you, I'm glad. So have a great day, and make sure you give me a thumbs up if you like this. I'll be coming back with more New Year's cleaning and refilling things for this year. Thank you.